Hi, it's Sylvester, and I have this belief that everyone pretty much wants the same thing. And you might think that that thing might be money, or power, or love, or friendship, or I don't know, material possessions. But I think it's kind of like all of the above. What we really want is to feel good. Most people just want to feel good. Whatever that means to them, however they can achieve it. I feel like everyone in the world is just fighting to try to feel good. And I said in a previous video that my definition of success is feeling good more often than you feel bad, being happy more often than you're unhappy. And I do believe that that's true. And my biggest goal in life is to feel good more often than I don't. And there's lots of things that I do to try to make myself feel good. I eat too much food. I watch YouTube, make YouTube videos. I read. I sing. There are lots of ways for me to try to make myself feel good. Retail therapy, buying nice things, buying stuff for other people, just going for a walk. There's lots of little ways to make myself feel good. And I think that's kind of really my goal in life. Like, I don't have a lot of big goals. I have some, but my main goal in life is, again, to just feel good most of the time. And sometimes it's harder than others. Like, when my depression gets really bad, it can be really hard to feel good. Things that would normally feel good don't feel good. And it's very upsetting. And I don't really know how to deal with that. I don't really know what to do. I don't know how to make myself feel not bad. Because maybe it is even too much to say that we want to make ourselves feel good. I think maybe the main goal is to make ourselves not feel bad. It's not necessarily that we want to feel good. It's just that it's not that we want pleasure. It's that we want an absence of pain. And that life is full of pain. There's no way to really not have pain. But the goal is to have as little pain as humanly possible. So, thinking about my life and the things that cause me pain. And there are many. There's the fact that I'm in poverty. That's painful. There's the fact that I struggle with mental health problems. Those are painful. There's the fact that my dream of being a rich and famous YouTuber seems further and further away every day. Like, it's just never going to happen. That's incredibly painful. And the thing is, Buddhism, many schools of Buddhism, in fact, most schools of Buddhism, I believe, teach you that desire is the root of all human suffering. Wanting things, wanting for something more, wanting to feel good, wanting pleasure, wanting anything. Because wanting leads to disappointment, or it leads to excess, both of which cause pain. And so if you don't want anything, if you desire for nothing, then Buddhists believe that makes you at peace. You find peace by not wanting anything. So I've been thinking a lot about that recently, because it's like, am I causing myself pain by wanting to not be in poverty, by wanting to be a YouTuber, by wanting to not have to deal with as much mental health bullshit? Like, if I just accepted that I'm in poverty and I'll never be a famous YouTuber and that I will always have to suffer with mental health problems, if I just accepted it and stopped wanting things to be different, would I find peace? Would my life be better? And the short answer is yeah, actually. I think some of the happiest people in the world are people who just appreciate what they have and don't want for anything else. They have friends, they have family, they have money, they have everything they need. They don't really want for anything other than to keep what they have. And that's still wanting something, because like if they end up losing their money or losing a family member or losing something that means a lot to them, obviously that's going to cause them a lot of pain. So does that mean that not wanting to keep the things that you have will bring you peace? And again, the short answer is kind of yeah. Like if that person who has everything they need and they're perfectly content and grateful for what they have, if they lose a loved one, but they already knew that their friends and family were going to die because death is inevitable, and they'd already accepted it and made peace with it, then when that person they loved died, theoretically it wouldn't hurt them, because they realized that everything is temporary, even people, and they'd be at peace because they didn't want for that person to be in their life forever, because they knew wanting that was irrational, because that person was probably going to die, just like all people. Not probably. That person was definitely going to die, but like probably going to die before they did. Like let's say it was their parent, and their parent was like getting up there in age, and so they knew my parent is probably going to die before I do. Then it wouldn't cause pain if they didn't want for that parent to live longer than them. And like that's kind of like what Buddhism teaches you. If you want for nothing, if you have zero desires, then you can reach nirvana. You've become enlightened, and you will never suffer, because desire is the root of all suffering. And the point of Buddhism is to try to reach a point where you no longer suffer. And so, wanting stuff causes suffering. And like I totally get that. I get where Buddhism is coming from. I'm a fan of Buddhism. I like Buddhism. But my favorite form of Buddhism is Tibetan Buddhism, because in Tibetan Buddhism, they have something called the middle way, which is kind of like avoiding extremism. So in Tibetan Buddhism, a little bit of desire is okay. Excess is bad. Like, you're allowed to want for a better life. You're allowed to want the world to change. You're allowed to want your situation to change. You're allowed to want things. It doesn't mean you're not going to be disappointed, and that it's not going to cause suffering if and when those things don't happen, the things that you want don't happen. But you're allowed. Like, a little bit of desire is okay. And in fact, I think it's healthy to want stuff. I mean, in excess, when you want too much, that's when it becomes a problem. Like when you become greedy. Like, let's say that person who has everything they need, they have friends, family, money, nice house, like they have everything that they could ever ask for, but they still want more. It's not enough. It's not enough for them. They want more. More friends, more fame, more money, more everything. They want more. Like, that's when you take desire to a level of excess. And in Tibetan Buddhism, excess or extremism is frowned upon. So, that person who has everything and is very grateful for their life and doesn't really want anything other than to keep what they have, like, that would be somebody who in Tibetan Buddhism is kind of living their life right. Because, again, they appreciate what they have. They do have desire. They want to keep what they have. They want to continue being happy. They want to continue having the things that they have earned and fought for and all that stuff. But they're not wanting to a degree where it hurts, where it's hurting themselves and other people. And that desire is still going to hurt them if and when they lose something that they love. But like, a little bit of suffering in Tibetan Buddhism is expected. In fact, my minister, I sometimes go to this church in town, and the minister there, he's a very, very lovely guy, and he said to me one time that all religions understand that suffering is an inevitable part of life. And I don't know if that's true, because again, Buddhism, the whole goal of Buddhism is to no longer suffer, to escape suffering. But most religions, probably, I don't know, I'm not a religion expert, but he's probably right in that most religions understand that suffering is a natural and necessary part of life. And again, that's partially why I'm so drawn to Tibetan Buddhism, because it understands that suffering is is normal and necessary, and that you maybe shouldn't try to run from it. You should accept it. But that being said, we are allowed to want things. And I think it's good to want things. It's good to want the world to be a better place. It's good to want to improve yourself and to improve your life. It's good to want things, because nothing would ever get done if we were all like the Buddhists and just desired nothing. We just desired nothing at all. We're just like, everything is the way it should be, and I don't want anything. I want nothing. Then again, nothing would ever change. Nothing would ever get better. And people would inevitably still suffer, because it is extremely difficult. Like, it's very easy in theory to say, just want nothing, desire nothing. That's very easy to say, but actually doing it in practice, it's extraordinarily hard. Like, there are Buddhist monks who literally spend their entire lives trying to find a way to desire nothing, because humans are just designed to want stuff. We want stuff. And again, I think it's good to want stuff. So, is it causing me suffering? The fact that I want to find a way to make my mental health problems better? Is it causing me suffering to want to not live in poverty? Is it causing me suffering to want to be a famous YouTuber? Yes. Yes. But I believe that suffering is necessary and normal. And I believe that it is okay for me to want those things, because I think it's okay to want for things to be better. And will I probably be disappointed if I never get out of poverty and never become a famous YouTuber and never get to a place where my mental health isn't absolutely fucking up my day? Yes, that will be painful and very disappointing. Absolutely. But I'm going to want anyways, because I think that suffering is worth it. The suffering of disappointment is worth it. And, just sitting around wanting something isn't going to make it happen. You actually have to, put effort in. And admittedly, I don't put that much effort into my videos anymore. And admittedly, I'm not really doing anything to get out of poverty. I am trying to do something about my mental health. I am seeing a psychiatrist soon who will hopefully be able to adjust my medications and help me figure things out a little bit there. So that's, something that I'm doing. But, wanting isn't enough. You have to put the work in. And I've been making YouTube videos for almost 10 years. So to me, it feels like I've put the work in. But I guess I gotta work harder. I guess I gotta keep going. I guess I gotta just keep putting maybe more effort in. I am trying on my main channel to put a little more effort into my videos, but I haven't been. I haven't been. I said I would. And to be fair to me, a couple of videos I've actually edited, and I actually made a custom thumbnail, and a couple videos I actually put some effort into, but for the most part, yeah, I'm not putting that much effort into being a YouTuber, and part of that is because of the pain of disappointment. The harder I work for it, the more effort I put into it, the more I'm gonna want it. Because it's not only that I just want it, it's that I feel like I am owed it, like I deserve it, because I've fought for it, I've worked for it. And so then the disappointment when I inevitably don't get what I want is going to be even worse. It's gonna hurt even more. And in terms of trying to get out of poverty, well, I've explained before, and I don't really feel like explaining now, but basically I'm in a real bad position, and I don't really see any future in which I am not in poverty. But it's hard to not want to not be in poverty, because poverty sucks. And poverty is suffering. Whether or not you want, I don't entirely agree with the Buddhist idea that desire is the root of all suffering, because I think, let's say you have a really bad cold or the flu, and you feel sick, and you're throwing up, and you have a fever, and you just feel like crap. Wanting to not feel like crap isn't really the thing causing you to feel like crap. You know what I mean? Like, even if you took away all your desire and was like, I desire nothing, I accept that I am sick, I accept that I feel like shit. Like, you're accepting it, but just because you're accepting it doesn't mean you're not suffering. You're accepting the suffering, you're making peace with the suffering, but you're still suffering whether or not you desire not to suffer. Does that make any sense? So poverty is one of those things where it's like, even if I had no desire to not be out of poverty, I would still be suffering because poverty is suffering. You know what I'm saying? So, there's that. I like Buddhism, but there's a lot of things about it that I kind of disagree with. It's the same with basically all major religions, is that I agree with some parts, don't agree with other parts, and I think that's fine and that's normal. But, yeah, and with the whole mental health thing, like I'm suffering because of my mental illnesses. So even if I desired to not want to fix or like do anything to make it better, I would still be suffering. I would just be accepting of the suffering. I would just kind of be laying back, and I just lay back and take it, essentially. Like I would be at peace with the fact that I was suffering, but I'd still be suffering. And, like my minister said, suffering is a normal, necessary part of life. It's an inevitability. People are going to suffer. Even if you've had a really, really good life, even if you're extremely privileged, you're going to suffer, or you have suffered, because that is part of the human experience. That's part of being alive. That's just part of life. But again, deep down, I believe that every person just wants to not suffer. And that's really all we want. And I think our brains are programmed that way, is that we just want to not suffer. And there will never be a time when we don't suffer. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be something causing us pain, no matter what. But we can all work towards a day where we feel good more than we feel bad. And I think it's important to indulge in things that make you feel good, as long as you don't do it excessively. And, I'm certainly not one to be preaching, because I definitely do things in excess. Like, I eat too much, I drink too much coffee, like, things that feel good, I sometimes tend to do too much of it, like I used to smoke a lot of marijuana. Marijuana made me feel good, and so instead of smoking just enough to make me feel good, I smoked it until I felt good, and then continued smoking because I wanted to feel not just good, but like really good, and that never really worked out in my favor. It would just make my tolerance higher, and then it would just make it harder for me to feel good next time I smoked. You know what I mean? So, doing things in excess, obviously not good. Moderation is obviously something that I'm learning and working on, and something that I need to, I balance and whatnot. So, again, I'm not one to be preaching. I like Tibetan Buddhism, but I certainly don't live by its rules. I try, though, and that is what I aim for. That is what I strive for, is a day where I can live in moderation and find happiness in feeling good, or appreciate feeling good. Because I do think there is something to be said about us not appreciating stuff that makes us feel good. Like, you have a nice cup of coffee and it makes you feel good, but you don't take the time to really sit and enjoy the cup of coffee. You don't take the time to really take it in, and that's something that I deal with. Like, I have a cup of coffee, I'll just just gulp it down and not take the time to really taste the flavors and enjoy the experience and find happiness in this thing that makes me feel good. I just want to get it all in my body so that I feel good as fast as possible. Like, give me that caffeine, give it to me, or like, reading a good book. Instead of enjoying the process of reading, I'll often just, like, want to get through the book as fast as possible because like I don't take the time, slow down, like that speech in Ferris Bueller's Day Off where it's like, you gotta slow down, take the time to smell the flowers or something like that. Like we gotta appreciate the things that make us feel good a little bit more, and appreciate, even if you don't feel good, appreciate moments when you're at least not suffering. And like maybe those moments don't really exist. Maybe we're always suffering a little bit. Like it's just like background noise of our lives. There's just like background suffering that's always going to be kind of there. And so in that case, you appreciate it when it's not as bad as it could be. Like I'm having a bad mental health day, but it's certainly a better mental health day than I had a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, or like, I don't know, time is an illusion, so I don't remember how long ago things happened, but, I've certainly had worse mental health days, so even though today is not great, I'm trying to appreciate the fact that it's not as bad as it could be, and that it could be worse. And, like, I know it's really toxic to tell people, like, it could be worse, appreciate what you have, it could be worse, it could be worse. Because, like, people usually weaponize that, especially against people who suffer with depression. It's like, weaponized of, like, you shouldn't feel bad because so many people are suffering more than you. And, like, that doesn't really make your suffering go away. Another person in pain doesn't make your pain better. You know what I mean? Like, if you got shot and then somebody else got shot 5 times... It's like, you're still like, well, I still have a bullet wound. I still kind of, like, it's still kind of a big deal, even though, like, that person was shot 5 times. Like, okay, I get it. They have it worse. But, like, I still got this bullet wound that we need to maybe, work on. Like, maybe we should pay attention to this pain, even though it's not as bad as it could be. So I understand that, and I'm not trying to tell you to just, like, cheer up, buddy, just stop being depressed, just appreciate life more, and you'll be happy, because, that's really not how it works. Your pain is valid. Your pain is painful. Now, even if it's not as painful as someone else's, it still exists, and you still have every right to be upset about being in pain. Because pain sucks. Nobody likes pain. Nobody likes suffering. It sucks. And, I'm sorry if you're the kind of person who people don't recognize your pain or don't think it's valid. Your pain is valid. Your pain matters to you. And therefore, it should matter to the people who love you as well. Because if you're surrounded by people who just, like, write off your pain and tell you, like, it's, you're fine, you're you're just being whiny, like, maybe those are the wrong people to surround yourself with. You know what I mean? Like, not that you should be complaining all the time, not that you should be constantly dumping your pain on everybody around you or making your pain everybody else's problem, but, like, if you're talking to your friend and you, like, casually bring up something that's causing you that's upsetting you or, like, causing you pain, they should, if they're really your friend, then they should not try to minimize that pain and be like, you're just being a whiny little biatch, like, get over it, you pussy. Like, they should be like, I'm sorry that you're going through that sucks, like, just, like, acknowledging somebody else's pain can really do a lot of good. It really means a lot to just have your pain acknowledged. Sometimes that's all people want, and that's all people really need, is to just have somebody see their pain and to be like, that pain, it's valid. We all kind of just seek validation from each other. Some people more than others. Some people absolutely need to constantly be reassured and to constantly be validated, and that's exhausting. Again, everything in moderation. It's okay to need to be validated sometimes, but if you're the kind of person who just, like, constantly, like I said, if you're just, like, constantly trauma dumping on people, constantly telling people about everything, all of your pain and everything that you're suffering with, just constantly throwing your pain onto other people so that you can be assured that it's valid, that makes you very unfun to be around. So Yeah, again, everything in moderation. And I know I'm one to preach. I'm only human, and I definitely could use these lessons myself. I'm making this video as much for me as I am for anyone else. In fact, I'm making this for my second channel, so there's a pretty good chance that I am literally the only one who's going to watch this video. And so this video is very much so for me more than it is for anyone else, because these are things that I have to remind myself of and that I have to think about. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay frosty. Bye.